7 key focal points of Trump's first day executive orders on last night's live show, which airs at 6 p.m. Pacific time at jdrucker.com/rumble. You can definitely check that out every night, at least 5 nights a week, sometimes 6, sometimes even 7. But on last night's show, I was talking about executive orders, and I tried to go through as many as I could. I think we got through a bunch, but it was insufficient. I mean, let's face it. This is nothing like we've ever seen before, and rightly so. I'm not a fan of executive orders, but when you're coming off of what we just experienced the last 4 years under the Biden-Harris regime, you need changes, and you need them immediately, and you need aid. You need help. We need help. So I am, for once, temporarily glad about executive orders. Now we need to, of course, codify a bunch of what Trump is doing. That is super important. And I don't know if we'll be able to do it, not with the current makeup of Congress. You've got the razor thin majority in the House. You've got a 3 senator majority in the Senate. Not enough to overcome a filibuster. We need to start basically campaigning for 2026 now, because we want the second half of Trump's second term to be even better than the first, and the only way that can happen is if he has the full support of a proper Republican-controlled Congress, but more importantly, an America First controlled Congress. So not only do we need to get more Republicans in the House and the Senate, we need to get rid of the rhinos, as many as possible. But look, I don't want to start getting into strategy today. We're on day 1 of the Trump administration. So let's focus on some of the good, and a lot of good came out of these executive orders that he pushed yesterday. Rollcall.com. Who is this? This is Niels Lesniewski. Nice. Posted an article, 7 key focal points of Trump's first day executive orders. He issued more than 200, and there's a few that we need to highlight. We're going to do that right now. President Donald Trump's flurry of first day executive actions included a slew of orders related to health, energy, international relations, and the federal workforce. That's in addition to the nearly across-the-board pardons of those convicted of offenses related to January 6th, yada, yada, yada. And, of course, the pause on enforcing the prohibition of TikTok, which maybe I'll cover. Maybe I'll just, you know what, I'm just going to let that one go. I talked about it a little bit yesterday in last night's show. I'm done. Well, done for now, at least. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said on X that there were more than 200 executive actions from Trump on his first day, and a total of 115 personnel actions, which are very important, of course, too. We're starting to see a purge in the military of top brass. Let's keep that going. Need to de-wokify. Got to get Pete Hegseth in. Pete Hegseth made it out of committee yesterday, so that's a good sign. Good signs. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but good signs so far. So let's get into some of these important ones, and this is one that's been a topic that I have covered for years. Birthright citizenship really chaps my khakis, and we are a step closer to fixing this abomination. One of Trump's actions most likely to face legal challenges is an order that would narrow the accepted constitutional definitions of those eligible for U.S. citizenship by birthright. Many children born on U.S. soil, to those not lawfully in the United States, or to those on tourist visas or other temporary documents, would face the new restrictions. In other words, you can't just come in real quick, cross the border as quickly as possible, have a baby, and call him an American. The idea, by the way, birthright citizenship from the beginning, the idea was because we wanted to make sure that as a burgeoning country, a new nation, we wanted to make sure that we had protections for those who wanted to be in America, who wanted to become Americans, and who wanted their children to grow up in a free America, free from the tyranny of the crown, that they would have that opportunity to do so. Things are different now. We have a completely separate, not separate, but a completely improved nation. I want to say that. I don't know if that's the right word. Bottom line is that now the birthright citizenship, which was a necessary and important component of the United States of America in the early days has become a plague. It's become a scourge. It's been abused so badly that it does need to be changed. I'm not saying get rid of birthright citizenship altogether. I'm saying if you're going to do it the right way. Senator Jackie Rosen had a problem with it, of course. Donald Trump's attempt to take Americans' birthright citizenship away is extreme, unconstitutional, and illegal. It's both unconstitutional and illegal, according to brainiac Jackie Rosen. I will do everything in my power to protect Nevadans' constitutional rights. Now, is she protecting Nevadans' constitutional rights or the non-constitutional rights of those who aren't Nevadans yet? Look, again, I'm not completely against birthright citizenship. I'm against abuse of birthright citizenship, and so should any American, even a Democrat. Next, we got federal workforce. Trump's orders also seek to make it easier to remove career officials. Yay, please, including members of the senior executive service. One order, which largely reinstates what was known as Schedule F in the first Trump administration, says that occupants of career or policy positions are not required to politically support the president, but they are required to faithfully implement administration policies to the best of their ability, consistent with their constitutional oath and the vesting of executive authority solely in the president. Failure to do so is grounds for dismissal. In other words, you don't have to like Trump if you work in the government, but you got to do what he wants you to do. He is the boss. Okay? So you can't just say, well, the president of the United States wants me to do this, but as a conscientious objector in a position of power within the United States government and without the risk or threat of being fired for my actions or inactions, I'm going to protest. That's how you get the Eric Charamellas of the world, okay? That's how you get the Mike Pences of the world. Let's face it. Mike Pence definitely qualified as somebody who would work against President Trump's, his boss, work against President Trump's decisions and policies in order to try to install his own ideas. Another of the president's directives calls for the return of federal employees to offices on a full-time basis as quickly as possible. You know, a lot of big deals. Elon Musk in particular has made a big fuss about this. Look, I'm a results-oriented guy, okay? In other words, if they can get the job done wherever they are, get the job done. I'm not a big fan of, the only place where action and results can be achieved is if you're sitting there in the cubicle. And maybe it's because I left the cubicle, 2008, I think, maybe 2009 at the latest. I have been cubicle free for a long time, and I remain extremely productive, but maybe I'm the weird one here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. I'm glad about it. I just don't know if it's that big of a deal. WHO, we talked about this last night, but I'll go ahead and briefly discuss it again. Trump also signed an order to resume the effort from his previous administration to withdraw the United States from the World Health Organization. World Health ripped us off, Trump said from the Oval Office while signing executive orders and answering questions from the press. Everyone rips off the U.S. That's not going to happen anymore. And that is very true. The assistant to the president for national security affairs shall establish directorates and coordinating mechanisms within the National Security Council apparatus as he deems necessary and appropriate to safeguard public health and fortify biosecurity. In other words, we're not getting rid of our protections that the World Health Organization allegedly provided. We're just getting out of them, getting away from them, not falling under their doctrines, and we're going to take care of it ourselves, and we'll do a much better job. Now, I would love for a variation of the World Health Organization to be completely privatized. Not World Health Organization, I don't care about World Health. American Health Organization to be completely privatized, made up of doctors who are not beholden to big pharma. They're not beholden to insurance. They're not beholden to anybody. They're just there to help set direction for the medical industry outside of government, even. But that's a discussion for another day. Denali. Okay, so this one I don't care, but whatever. Maybe you guys care, so I'm going to read it. One Trump order includes a provision to restore noteworthy locations to their former names, including a directive to rename Denali in Alaska to its former name, Mount McKinley. Senator Rhino dirtbag Lisa Murkowski expressed disagreement with the move, because of course she does, because she's not a Republican. She's not even a rhino. I mean, okay, there are rhinos out there that are like sort of Republican occasionally, sort of, they're really just uniparty swamp people, But then there's what I like to call the McConnellites, the people that are absolutely positively not Republican by any means. They can say Republican talking points from time to time, especially around campaign season, but otherwise they vote against Republican policies. They're well, I don't know. I don't even know what do you want to call them. I could call them a lot of things, but I'm not going to, because this is a family-friendly show. According to, and this comes from Murkowski in a post on X, our nation's tallest mountain, which has been called Denali for thousands of years. I'm not even going to argue that, though I should, but I won't. Must continue to be known by the rightful name bestowed by Alaska's Koyukon Athabascans, who have stewarded the land since time immemorial. Oh, wow. Lots of big words. She's such a smart person. Please, Alaska, figure out. You've had some good options. Just please, can we not do Murkowski any longer? I know we're stuck with her, but is there an impeachment process? Can you do like a recall election? Is there any way to get Lisa Murkowski out of the Senate? You know what? Let's just do a trade. We'll trade the Democrats. You give us John Fetterman because he's so entertaining, and we'll give you Lisa Murkowski because she's so evil, which you guys love. Call me. Let's talk about it. Energy emergency. Trump declared a national emergency designed to promote the development of energy resources. Praise God for that. Hallelujah. This active threat to the American people from high energy prices is exacerbated by our nation's diminished capacity to insulate itself from hostile foreign actors. It's a very long way of saying our grid is fragile, and a lot of people want to take it down, and we're not ready for that. He signed off on a directive to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accords. Boom. And he has had, as he had done in his first administration. Democrats were quick to criticize those directives, including Rep. Frank Pallone Jr., who's a Democrat, of course, from New Jersey, the ranking member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. In the face of increasing once-in-a-lifetime superstorms, devastating wildfires, and extreme weather events across the country, Americans deserve leadership that recognizes the severity of the growing crisis we all face, the determination to tackle it, and the compassion to protect our communities. Now, hold on. Let me just stop you right there, buddy. That's exactly what Trump is trying to do here. He recognizes the severity of the growing crisis we all face, the energy crisis that we currently face. He has the determination to tackle it, thus the executive order, thus the desire to drill, baby, drill. And he has the compassion to protect our communities, which again is exactly what he's doing. But that's not what he was talking about. He was talking about climate change, wasn't he? He was, wasn't he? Back to his statement. Unfortunately, today's actions once again demonstrate that Trump continues to prioritize large polluting corporate interests over the American people. No. He prioritizes the American people over the climate change cult. Get it right, man. You're embarrassing yourself. That's a congressman. Wind power. Trump's long-standing opposition to wind energy projects was apparent in a memorandum from the heads of relevant department and agencies, ordering a temporary withdrawal of the offshore continental shelf from new wind project leases. The president also ordered a review of wind energy project leases more broadly, including language that specifically orders the Interior Secretary to review the Lava Ridge wind project in Idaho. Senator Jim Risch from Idaho was among the leaders calling for the project to be halted. And one of the good guys, maybe. He said, Lava Ridge has been the embodiment of the liberals' disregard for the voices of Idahoans and rural Americans. Despite intense and widespread opposition from Ohio. I got Ohio on the mind. Ohio State won. Despite intense and widespread opposition from Idaho and the Japanese American community, the previous administration demanded dead set remained dead set on pushing this unwanted project across the finish line. At long last, the calls from Idahoans to reject Lava Ridge has been answered. He also saved the whales. To be clear, for decades we've been hearing leftists, radicals, talking about saving the whales. And finally, they have a champion in Donald Trump who is saving the whales from those very, very destructive wind farms out in the sea. Boom. Doge. A Ramaswamy free Doge, mind you. Trump directed the establishment of what's been informally billed as the Department of Government Efficiency. It's formally billed. Yeah. Well, now it is. So, the key initiative of businessman Elon Musk through the realignment of an existing executive branch agency. Under an executive order, the United States Digital Service will be rebranded as the United States Doge Service. The agency is supposed to focus on federal information technology modernization. Instead, we're going to make things more efficient, which I think makes a lot more sense. Have you heard of anything that was done before by this United States Digital Services? Did you hear of it? I mean, has your life been positively impacted by it? Did you know it existed? You didn't. You didn't know. I didn't know. And now it doesn't. According to, who is this? This is the order, the executive order that President Trump signed in consultations with USDS. Each agency head shall establish within their respective agencies a Doge team of at least 4 employees, which may include special government employees hired or assigned within 30 days of the date of this order. In other words, everybody, if you got an agency, a department, you got to get on board. You gotta go Doge. I love it. We've got some good, exciting things happening. These are the early days of the Trump administration. We're on day 1. So let's make the most of it. Let's support these efforts. And let's call out, look, if I'm not going to sit here and tell you got to support anything Trump says. I will be the first to come out and say, hey, that's wrong. So far, just saying, everything other than TikTok, everything that President Trump has been pushing for, other than TikTok, I've approved of. And I have not spoken out against any of them. I've supported all of them, other than TikTok. Please be sure to subscribe to my new Rumble channel over at jdrucker.com/rumble1. That's the number 1. jdrucker.com/rumble1. That's where I'm going to be putting all of my shows going forward.